Good morning all. So this is Prashant from Rao's Academy. So in the previous session in tax we have been discussed regarding the concept of depreciation. In today's session we'll try to make some extension knowledge and we'll try to able to analyze some extension new topics on depreciation. Thank you all. So we'll get into the concept. So in previous session we have been discussed regarding various meaning of depreciation and what are the methods of depreciation we are having. So we have been trying to understand that there are two methods of depreciation under Income Tax Act. One is SLM method and WDV method, return on value method, and we have been seen the computation of WDV method of depreciation under section 43 subsection 6, and we have been also seen how we are required to compute the depreciation. So in today's session we will try to understand the rates of depreciation and meaning of additional depreciation, and in case of sale of asset of this depreciable asset, so what section 50 used to say. So we'll try into this particular concept. So first, in previous session we have been understand the concept of block of asset and meaning of depreciation, and we have been seen method of depreciation, and we have been seen computation of depreciation under WDV method. So first we'll make some few revision of what are the concept we have been studying in previous session. That is block of asset. Block of asset means nothing but, so block of asset means same class of asset having same rate of depreciation is considered as block of asset. And in income tax we are having only two methods of depreciation. One is SLM method of depreciation and other one is WDV method of depreciation. And we have been seeing meaning of depreciation and what are the conditions for claiming depreciation under section 32. So in order to claim the depreciation under section 32, there must be an asset and assessee must be the owner of the asset. Assessee must be the owner of the asset, and asset should be used for the purpose of business or profession. Used for the purpose of business or profession during the previous year. Business or profession during the previous year. Next. So if these following conditions are fulfilled, then assessee can claim the depreciation. So the asset there must be an asset, whether the asset may be tangible or intangible asset, and we'll compute the depreciation under the WDV method as per section 43 subsection 6, and we have been seeing the method of computation of depreciation in the previous session. So now we'll try to make understand the concept of depreciation will be calculated on actual cost. So in order to compute the depreciation is calculated on actual cost of asset. Depreciation is calculated on actual cost of asset. So in order to calculate the depreciation or in order to understand the concept of depreciation, first we are required to understand the meaning of actual cost. Actual cost means section 43 subsection 1 used to say, which defines that meaning of actual cost. Actual cost is a cost incurred by the assessee, cost which is incurred by the assessee as reduced by any cost directly or indirectly made by any other person. So actual cost అంటే ఏంటంటే కాస్ట్ incurred by the assessee as reduced by any cost directly or indirectly made by any other person. Like example, for example, Mr. R అనే ఒక assessee ఒక plant and machinery purchase చేయాలి అనుకుంటున్నాడు. He intends to purchase a plant and machinery. So the cost of plant and machinery is 10 lakhs. But for the purpose of giving benefit to the industry, the government has been granted a subsidy on this concerned machinery to the extent of 2 lakhs rupees. అంటే ఆర్ అనేవాడు ఆ ప్లాంట్ అండ్ మిషనరీ కాస్ట్ వచ్చేటప్పటికి ఒరిజినల్ కాస్ట్ వచ్చేటప్పటికి 10 lakhs అయితే, బట్ ఆ సప్లయర్కి ఆర్ ఓన్లీ 8 lakhs పే చేస్తే సరిపోతుంది. మిగతా 2 lakhs గవర్నమెంట్ ఈ సప్లయర్కి పే చేస్తుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఆర్ బుక్స్ ఆఫ్ అకౌంట్స్లో మిషనరీ వాల్యూ 10 lakhs అని రికార్డ్ చేయాలా, లేదా హీ హ్యాస్ టు రికార్డ్ ఓన్లీ 8 lakhs అంటే he has to record only 8 lakhs. He should not take in the cost of 10 lakhs because that's the definition of actual cost used to say. Actual cost ఏం చెప్తుంది? కాస్ట్ ఇంకర్డ్ బై ది అసెసీ. ఒరిజినల్ కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ మిషనరీ 10 lakhs అయి ఉండొచ్చు, కానీ అసెసీ మీట్ అయిన కాస్ట్ ఎంత? ఓన్లీ 8 lakhs కాబట్టి ఆ ఒరిజినల్ కాస్ట్ 10 lakhsలో నుంచి ఏదైతే కాస్ట్ ఇండైరెక్ట్లీ ఆర్ డైరెక్ట్లీ మేడ్ బై అనదర్ పర్సన్, లైక్ గవర్నమెంట్ మీట్ అయిన కాస్ట్ ఏదైతే ఉందో 2 lakhs, ఆ 2 lakhsని రెడ్యూస్ చేయమని చెప్తున్నారు ఒరిజినల్ కాస్ట్ నుంచి. అప్పుడు 10 lakhsలో నుంచి 2 lakhs రెడ్యూస్ చేస్తే 8 lakhs ఏదైతే ఉందో విచ్ ఈస్ ద కాస్ట్ ఇంకర్డ్ బై ది అసెసీ, అండ్ ఇట్ విల్ బి కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ అన్ యాక్చువల్ కాస్ట్. ఆన్ దిస్ 8 lakhs ఓన్లీ ద అసెసీ ఈజ్ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు క్లెయిమ్ depreciation, బట్ నాట్ ఆన్ ఎంటైర్ 10 lakhs rupees. Clear? And so this is regarding meaning of actual cost. Clear? So and we will calculate the depreciation on actual cost of asset. So meaning of actual cost means actual cost is a cost incurred by the assessee as reduced by any other cost incurred directly or indirectly made by any other person. Next, how we will compute the depreciation under WDV method. WDV method లో మనం depreciation ఎలా calculate చేయాలి సార్ అంటే, opening WDV value of block of asset, add purchase of asset made during the previous year, ఏదైతే వాల్యూ మనకు వస్తుందో ఆ వాల్యూలో నుంచి లెస్ సేల్ ఆఫ్ అసెట్స్ మేడ్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్, పర్చేస్ మేడ్ డ్యూరింగ్ ద ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్ లెస్ సేల్ ఆఫ్ అసెట్ made during the previous year. ఈ సేల్ వాల్యూ రెడ్యూస్ చేస్తే ఏదైతే వాల్యూ మనకు వస్తుందో ఆ బ్యాలెన్స్ వాల్యూని క్లోజింగ్ WDV వాల్యూ బిఫోర్ కరెంట్ ఇయర్ డెప్రిసియేషన్ లెస్ కరెంట్ ఇయర్ డెప్రిసియేషన్. సో కరెంట్ ఇయర్ డెప్రిసియేషన్ మనం క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసి ఆ వాల్యూ లెస్ చేస్తే వచ్చేది క్లోజింగ్ WDV వాల్యూ యాజ్ ఆన్ 31st March. Clear? So in this way we will calculate the depreciation under WDV method. So opening WDV value of block of asset. Sir, what do you mean by block of asset? We have been made a detailed discussion in the previous video, and we'll add the purchase of asset made during the previous year. From that, we will reduce the sale of asset made during the previous year. Then we will get closing WDV value before current year depreciation. Thereafter, we will reduce current year depreciation. After that, whatever the value you have been getting, it is called as closing WDV value as on 31st March. And in this manner, we will calculate the depreciation under WDV method. Next. And at what rate we have to claim the depreciation means, depreciation మనం ఎంత రేట్ మీద క్లెయిమ్ చేయాలి సార్ అంటే, దాని రిలేటెడ్ మనకి అపెండెక్స్ టేబుల్ ఫర్ సెక్షన్ 32 ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. సో ఫర్ సెక్షన్ 32 అపెండెక్స్ టేబుల్ విచ్ యూజువల్లీ డీల్స్ విత్ అపెండెక్స్ టేబుల్ ఆఫ్ depreciation. So coming to this appendix table of depreciation on building, if the building has been used for residential purpose other than hotels and boarding, that is residential building, the rate of depreciation on the block we have to be charged is 5%. And if the building is used for non-residential purpose like go down, factory building, office building, including hotels and boarding, on such type of building the rate of depreciation is 10%. So on building, and if the building is for temporary construction, usually మనకి ఏదైనా అండర్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ అపార్ట్మెంట్స్ కానీ ఇలాంటి బిల్డింగ్స్ కేసులో, ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు స్టోర్ ద what you called సిమెంట్, శాండ్, వీటిని స్టోర్ ఐరన్ కానీ వీటిని స్టోర్ చేయడానికి యూజువల్గా ద బిల్డర్స్ విల్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ ఏ టెంపరరీ ఎరెక్షన్. సో ఆ టెంపరీ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ బిల్డింగ్స్ ఏవైతే ఉంటాయో వాటి మీద రేట్ ఆఫ్ డెప్రిసియేషన్ 40%. బికాస్ వన్స్ ద కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోతే ఆ టెంపరీ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ని డెమాలిష్ చేయడం జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. అందుకోసం వాటి మీద రేట్ ఆఫ్ డెప్రిసియేషన్ 40% ఉంటుంది. సో బిల్డింగ్ రిలేటెడ్గా మనకి టోటల్ 3 రేట్స్ ఆఫ్ డెప్రిసియేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ ఇఫ్ ద బిల్డింగ్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ పర్పస్, పార్ట్లీ రెసిడెన్స్ అండ్ పార్ట్లీ పర్సనల్ ఆర్ పార్ట్లీ అఫీషియల్ పర్పస్, it is 5%. And the building is completely used for business purpose, that is for like a factory building, office building, including hotels and boarding, the rate of depreciation is 10%. And if the building is for temporary erection, so it is for 40%. And in case of furniture, the rate of depreciation is 10%, and furniture which will include electrical fittings also. And on plant and machinery, the general rate of depreciation on plant and machinery is 15%. There is a definition for plant also that has been provided in Income Tax Act. In Income Tax Act, we are having a definition for plant. Plant includes computer, laptop, motor car, vehicles, scientific apparatus, but does not include T-bush and livestock. So in later session, we will look into the concept of definition of this plant also. But just for the time being, when we understand that plant and machinery, in general, the rate of depreciation is 15%. And plant and machinery, which also includes computers, including computer software, in such a case, on those concerned assets, the rate of depreciation is 40%. And plant and machinery which also includes ships, plant includes ships, ocean going vessels, speedboats, in such a case the rate of depreciation is 20%. Plant includes motor car which are used for hiring purpose, in such a case the rate of depreciation is 30%. Air and water pollution control equipment 40%. Oil wells also traded as plant, which is traded, the rate of depreciation is 15%. So in case of on plant and machinery, we are having varied rate of depreciation rates. So in general, the rate of depreciation is 15. But if the asset is different, because the definition of plant itself is an inclusive definition, which consists of various number of assets. In such a case, so the plant includes computer, which is 40%, the plant includes motor car, which is 30%, ships, which is 20%, and air and water pollution control equipment 40%, oil wells 15%. So and in general it is 15% also. And in case of, as we have been discussed in the previous session, while looking to the conditions of depreciation, in order to claim depreciation, there must be an asset. The asset may be either tangible or intangible. In case of intangible asset, the rate of depreciation is 25%, which has got acquired on or after 31/3/1998. Clear? So these are the extract table of rate of depreciation, and we will call it as an appendix table that has been provided under section 32. And intangible assets, which includes patent, know-how, copyright, trademark, license, franchises, and other commercial and business rights. And we'll look into a small concept of small problem regarding the computation of depreciation under section 32. So let us take the following case. Measures Anita Enterprises has written down value in furniture block. The depreciation rate is 10% as on 1/4/2024, which is 80,000. The block consists of two furniture, that is furniture X and furniture Y. So WDV of opening WDV of block of asset is as on 1/4/2024, which is 80,000. So opening WDV of block of asset is as on 1/4/2024 is 80,000, and the block consists of two assets only, that is furniture X and furniture Y. So coming, we'll take one of the case and we'll choose that case D, where furniture X, actually the block consists of two assets, that is X and Y, but the assessee in case D has been sold the furniture X for 10,000 rupees, and he has been purchased a new furniture, that is furniture S, for 40,000 as on 1/7/2024, and the current previous year is 24/25. So in such a case, we'll calculate the depreciation on this block in the way that opening WDV value as on 1/4/2024, 80,000. Add purchases made during the previous year, 40,000. And the total value is 1,20,000 less sale of asset. Actually, in case D, the asset has been sold, furniture X, which is one of the asset in the block, for 10,000, and we'll get closing WDV value before current year depreciation, 1,10,000. 1,10,000 closing WDV value before current year depreciation. From these, on this 1,10,000, we have to calculate the depreciation. While we will see this on 1,10,000, which is the value of the block, and the asset has been used for greater than 180 days during the previous year, so we can able to claim full rate of depreciation, actual rate of depreciation. The actual rate of depreciation is 10%. So we will claim 10% depreciation on this entire value of asset, so that 11,000 will be the amount of depreciation, so that the net profit shall be reduced, their tax payments will be get lowered. As the depreciation is a non-cash expense and the profit is get lowered and their tax payment will be get lowered, the liquidity position of the company will be get increased. The liquidity of the assessee will be get increased. So this benefit is known as additional depreciation. This is the basic objective of providing additional depreciation. So additional depreciation shall not be availed by all the assessees, because additional depreciation is applicable only on assessees who has got engaged in the business of manufacturing or production of any article or thing, which means only a manufacturing assessees can able to claim additional depreciation, and also the assessee who has got engaged in the business of generation, transmission and distribution of power, they can claim additional depreciation. So assessee has got engaged in the power generation or power distribution in business, or assessee has got engaged in the manufacturing of an article or thing, they can only claim the depreciation. But the assessee who has got engaged in service sector entities, they cannot claim the additional depreciation on their assets. Clear? And the following conditions are to be met in order to claim the additional depreciation. So assessee must be an industrial undertaking, which is nothing but, as we have been seen, that manufacturing assessee can only claim additional depreciation, and either they can also be engaged in the business of generation, transmission, distribution of power, electricity. And assessee shall acquire. The second condition is that in order to claim additional depreciation, assessee acquired and installed on or after 31st March 2005, because the concept of additional depreciation has got introduced with the Concerned Finance Act. So they have been taken it as an benchmark in order to claim the additional depreciation. The assessee must be acquired the asset on 31st March 2005. A new plant or machinery other than the following. Assessee must acquire new plant and machinery, not second hand or old plant and machinery. So, and the plant and machinery must be acquired on or after 31st March 2005. So, the first condition is that assessee should be a manufacturing assessee. Second condition is that he should acquire a new plant and machinery, which means it has been clearly specified that other than plant and machinery, other than any asset other than plant and machinery, the assessee cannot claim additional depreciation. For example, assessee cannot claim additional depreciation on building. Assessee cannot claim additional depreciation on any other assets, which is, even though certain assets which are plant and machinery, but still on this concerned asset he cannot claim the additional depreciation. So which means, as we have been discussed in the previous session, ships and aircrafts are included in the definition of plant and machinery, but assessee who has got acquired ships and aircraft, they cannot claim the additional depreciation. And assessee who has been purchased any asset which has been within India or outside India, has been used by any other person, which means second hand plant and machinery. Assessee cannot claim depreciation, additional depreciation on second hand plant and machinery. Assessee cannot claim additional depreciation on ships and aircrafts, because with the ships and aircrafts, by using these ships and aircraft, as they have been included in the definition of plant and machinery, but why they are ineligible to claim additional depreciation on these ships and aircrafts means because they have been not been used for manufacturing of an article or thing. Because in order to claim additional depreciation, the asset should be used for manufacturing of article or thing. In such case, as a definition of plant and machinery, which includes ships as a plant and machinery, but why they cannot eligible to claim for additional depreciation means with the help of the ships and aircraft, the assessee used to provide services, not for manufacturing of goods. The assessee, by using the ships and aircraft, the assessee will provide services, but not for manufacturing of article or thing. So, which is the primary objective is that it is to give a benefit for manufacturing assessees and in order to boost up the manufacturing sector. So, as the ships and aircrafts are not been used for manufacturing purpose, so they cannot claim for additional depreciation. And on second-hand plant and machinery, they cannot claim any additional depreciation whether the plant and machinery has got installed within India or outside India prior to be used by the assessee. And third one, the plant and machinery should not be installed. If the plant and machinery has got installed in office premises, any residential accommodation or guest house, they are ineligible to, even though they are plant and machinery, they are ineligible to claim for additional depreciation if they have been used in office premises or residential accommodation or guest house. Clear? And the reason is very similar as we have been discussed, because if you have been using any plant and machinery in office premises, in order the same logic we have been seen, as the premises has been plant and machinery has got installed in office premises, residential accommodation or guest house, they have been using for, if they have got installed in office premises, let us say computer which has got included in the definition of plant and machinery, but if the assessee has acquired 10 computers, new computers, and 8 of them has been used for in the production process for designing of any product in the factory, they have been using these 8 computers, and if 2 computers has been used in office purpose for bookkeeping purpose, in office for bookkeeping purpose, in such a cases, as these 2 computers has not involved in the production of any article or thing, in such a case they are ineligible to opt for additional depreciation. As these 8 computers has been installed at office factory premises or manufacturing premises for using for a manufacturing of an article or thing, they are eligible to claim for additional depreciation. And additional depreciation cannot also be used on any office appliances, road transport vehicles, because vehicles in the previously we have been discussed, vehicles are treated as included in the definition of plant and machinery, but the office appliances and road transport vehicles, with these road transport vehicles, what the assessee used to do means they will provide transport service. As they have been providing transport service and not been used for any article or manufacturing of article or thing, then also they are ineligible to opt for additional depreciation. And the assessee cannot claim any additional depreciation on a plant and machinery on which 100% deduction has been allowed. See, for example, assessee has been purchased a plant and machinery, new plant and machinery which values 10 lakhs. But the assessee has been using this plant and machinery for scientific research. The entire amount of this 10 lakhs has been claimed by the assessee, deduction under section 35, scientific research. As assessee has been claimed this deduction under section 35, and assessee cannot claim any additional depreciation on this asset, because the act does not encourage double deduction. Next. So additional depreciation is not allowed where the assessee has been allowed 100% deduction during the previous year on such expenditure. And the rate of additional depreciation is available as we have been discussed only on plant and machinery, and on alike asset like furniture, building, there is no additional depreciation. And the rate of additional depreciation is 20% of actual cost of plant and machinery. Whatever the cost of plant and machinery, we can claim the 20% as additional depreciation, and it can be claimed only in the year of acquisition, not in the subsequent years. The additional depreciation can be claimed only in the year in which the new plant and machinery is acquired, and we cannot claim in the subsequent year. But in the new year, but during the previous year, if the assessee has been acquired any plant and machinery, let us take 10 lakhs worth of plant and machinery is acquired by the assessee for the previous year 24-25, and the assessee has been using this plant and machinery for manufacturing of goods. In such a case, he can claim on this 10 lakhs cost of plant and machinery 20% as additional depreciation, which means 2 lakhs. And in subsequent year 24-25 previous year, the assessee shall not claim again the additional depreciation, which means the additional depreciation can be claimed by the assessee only in the year in which the asset has got acquired. It is only one time claiming deduction, but not for any subsequent years. Where if the asset has been put to use during the previous year, the plant and machinery has been put to use during the previous year, then which is 180 days, less than 180 days, if the assessee has been used this plant and machinery during the previous year less than 180 days, he can claim only the actual rate of additional depreciation into 50% only he can able to claim, which means he can claim only 10% of additional depreciation in the year of acquisition, and the balance 10% he can claim in the subsequent year. Clear? So in case of if the asset has been used during the previous year for less than 180 days, in such a case the assessee can claim additional depreciation only on actual depreciation. He can claim only half of the actual rate of depreciation, which means he can claim only 10%, and the balance 10% of additional depreciation can be claimed in subsequent year. So, and we'll continue the session in the next session. Thank you all.